carriers of the disease, asymptomatic carriers, like what's happening. Very good, Joshua. Like what happens with COVID-19 patients. Also, very good. That's another good example. Okay. Okay. So know what the difference between symptom and sign. Okay. Obviously, symptom is a subjective feeling that the patient feels, such as they say that they have stomach pain, that they say they have headache. Um, Signs, these are objective, observable, measurable things. Um, So like fever, high blood pressure, high heart rate. Syndrome is basically a group of signs and symptoms that are specific to a particular disease condition. All right. Asymptomatic or the subclinical infection. This is marked by lack of obvious signs and symptoms, as what happens with COVID-19. There's a phase where patients are asymptomatic and they don't really show obvious signs and symptoms. Okay. Cause of disease. Okay. The study of cause of disease is known as etiology, And an important scientist named Robert Koch came up with the germ theory of disease. The germ theory of disease explained that an infectious disease is actually caused by a specific pathogen. Okay. And in order to prove that an infectious disease is caused by a specific pathogen, it must satisfy the following postulates that Robert Koch came up with. Okay. First, the suspected pathogen must be present in every single case of the infectious disease. An example is patients who have cellulitis, which is infection of the skin caused by Staphylococcus aureus. That means that any patient that has cellulitis, you must find the pathogen Staphylococcus aureus as the etiological cause. How do you find it? When you isolate the pathogen and grow it in a pure culture, you will always see Staphylococcus aureus as the growing pathogen. Okay. When you grow the pathogen in a culture and then introduce it into another healthy host, you will see that the pathogen in the healthy host also causes the same infectious disease or cellulitis. Okay. And finally, the same pathogen must be re-isolated from the disease host and shown to be the causative organism. So these are very important postulates that are actually the foundation of modern day medicine. Okay. Any questions so far? Nope. All right. All right. So pathogenesis, this is the ability of a microorganism to cause disease. Okay. How bad or the degree of pathogenesis is what is referred to as virulence. Okay. Is what's referred to as virulence. Okay. And pathogens have different traits that they use in order to cause disease. These different traits are collectively referred to as virulence factors. Examples And pathogens can have enzymes, they can have adherence factors, they can have capsules. All of these are virulence factors that allow pathogens to cause disease. Okay? Now, let's go over some of these virulence factors, introduce them briefly. All right. Um, Examples of these are extracellular enzymes. Extracellular enzymes. Okay. There are pathogens that produce enzymes that dissolve host cell structural components. Host cell structural components. Okay. Um, for example, the enzyme hyaluronidase. This is the enzyme produced by bacteria, that specific bacterial species that destroy hyaluronic acid, which is a structural component of skin. Okay. Um, Note that when you get an infection, what happens is that your body starts to form clots. Why does your body form clots? Because it wants to localize the infection and prevent it from spreading to distant body regions. Okay, so there are bacteria that produce an enzyme called coagulase, which basically inhibits our body from forming clots, and thereby coagulase enzyme allows these pathogens to spread to distant tissues and cause infection. Okay. Um, toxins, toxins. These are produced by the pathogens, and they basically lead to harm of host tissues, even damaging the way that our innate and adaptive immune system responds to the tissue. Now, the word toxemia, what that means is that there is presence of toxins in the bloodstream. Presence of toxins in the bloodstream. Okay? And we have basically two types of toxins. We have exotoxins and then we have endotoxins. Okay? Exotoxins. These are toxins that are secreted by the pathogens. Okay? Examples of exotoxins are cytotoxins. Cytotoxins is an exotoxin that destroys host cells. Okay? Enterotoxins are exotoxins that destroy host intestinal lining tract. Neurotoxins are also types of exotoxins which destroy the nerve cells. Okay. Keep in mind that our body, through the adaptive immune system, it produces antibodies or antitoxins, which protect us against these exotoxins. Okay. Endotoxins, also known as lipid A. These are actually parts of the outer membrane of gram-negative bacteria. They are parts of the gram-negative bacterial outer membrane, and they are released from the outer membrane of gram-negative bacteria when their gram-negative bacteria dies. Okay. Endotoxins are very dangerous and very important because they can actually lead to shock and they can lead to production of fever. Okay. Other types of virulence factors are what's known as anti-phagocytic virulence factors. These are different types of virulence factors that allow bacteria to avoid phagocytosis by our white blood cells. Okay. Examples of anti-phagocytic factors are capsules. Okay, capsules. Some bacteria have capsules that protect it against phagocytosis. Okay.